Music of Melody Edvios and a track called When the Pine Cones Fall in Perfect Circles. And we heard Ken Murray playing the guitar, and it's a remarkable work. It's in homage to the Fires setting of he wrote a similar work in memory of Claude Debussy. And this is in line with that inspiration. Yeah, When Pine Cones Fall in Perfect Circles. Always good to hear some of Ken's playing, and that's up on the Tube, recent upload. I was in touch with Ken this morning, and he's doing fine. Yeah, we do hear a lot of him on the program, and with our theme music for Friday Night Missions and various projects he's been involved in. We might follow on with some examples from his latest album, Frangipani. I think I've got that set up ready to go. We do have a limited operation today because one of the mixers is completely out of service. It's burnt out its voltage regulator, which means that I can only use the turntables, or one really, of the many in this place. And that's okay. It forces us to think on the fly, but it's going to be quite a process to repair it, so I'll have to knuckle down over the holiday break. And incidentally, this is our last missions for the time being. We won't be doing any further programs probably for some time, maybe well into January. If I'm around on Christmas Day, I might do a short program of just some carols. It'll be maybe just announcements, that's all. But that may happen on Christmas Day. But I'm away next weekend, and then the following week after Christmas I'm heading off to do an extended walk up in the high plains, so that's also on the cards. So yeah, it's a bit of a game plan. But we will be back in January. There'll be lots more to come as the year unfolds. Definitely on board to keep moving forward with our programs and our test programs on 160 and on UHF. Just realised I haven't switched UHF on. Bear with me. And greetings to our UHF friends. I was a little bit remiss. I started the program and realised I hadn't switched you in. The fan was on, but the transmitter was not. Never mind, you didn't get to hear Ken's intro, but we'll play that another time. All right, folks, we'll hear some more of his music, though, from the album Frangipani. They're original compositions, I think, yes, and features Ken and a range of musicians. We'll play a few tracks from this. It's a low-key program this afternoon because Frank is out and about. He's gone to see the Messiah, so it'll be a good concert. So, yeah. All right, so here we go. It's got to work out which fader to use. Everything is in subordinate mode at the moment. We're sort of working with limited resources, but it does all work, and it sort of, it's always good to embrace a challenge on vk3sl testing. Listening to the music of Ken Murray, courtesy of his recent album Frangipani. We'll hear a few more tracks and then change course. I'm vk3sl. Ken Murray's recent album Frangipani. We've heard several tracks there featuring he and a range of musicians there with some chamber Brazilian perhaps. I'm vk3sl. Welcome to the program. I'm on my lonesome today and I'm feeling a bit chill. Don't really feel like putting much effort into things because we've got limited systems anyhow, and I'm just wanted to kick back. So we have on the one and only turntable, out of the 5 that work in this room at present, a record made in Athens back in the 1930s.
Το χαμογελό στα χείλη πάλι φαντάρι μας μπροστά και γίναν Ιταλοί Βραζίλοι γιατί η καρδιά τους δεν βαστά. Κοροϊδό Μουσολίνι κανείς σας δεν θα μείνει, εσύ και η Ιταλία, η πατρίδα σου γελία τρεμετώνει το χαγί. Δεν έχει διόλου μέσα κι όταν θα μπούμε μέσα ακόμη και στη Ρώμη γαλανόλευκη θα υψώσουμε σημαία ελληνική. Και κατά από τη τέντα δεν κάνουν βήμα προς τα μπρος και γράφουν τα ανακοινωθέντα φταίει ο κακός μας ο καιρός.
It's all Greek to me. I cannot tell you any details of that record. It's other than that it's musically arresting, and it certainly conjures up an image. Yes, it's all in critic script, so I'm not even going to try. But we will keep these records at hand because they all offer something interesting. Here's another one. This one, all I can tell you is it's a Rio tango and recorded in Buenos Aires back in the 40s. I'm vk3sl.
Buenos Aires stad på 25 de mayo där bor en señorita skön som blommande vår. Champagne kavalkad, Taverna Epson 39. Jag aldrig glömma får, jag minns den som igår. Hon tog min hela sans, min längtans dröm, min stora kärlek. Den första dans vi smälte bort ut i salig trans. Hon var ett värdigt namn, Dolores Belladonna Gomez. Ej hennes mörka skönhet jag beskriva kan. En liten blombukett från 25 de Mayo. Jag fick nu varje dag till båten ut i dock ett. Som åtföljde en biljett, amigo kom till mig ikväll. Dolores var den raraste jag hittills sett. Men vid den gatan här väl söp och sörjde alla degos. Med samma militär som höll sjön Dolores kär. Vid valdes i det blå, förflög en stund på lätta skyar. Dock tiden var så kort, snart får jag från dig bort. Nu har jag fått ett brev från 25 de Mayo. Ett dokument om bruten tro, hon skrev på mig glöm. Förlåt, men gift jag blev med militärn, du vet, Parajo. Vårt band är brutet, jag har vaknat ur min dröm. Du tog min hela sans, min längtan, min stora kärlek. En altarrunt fick aldrig någonsin se vårt förbund. Ett minne blott jag har av flickan ifrån Plaza Mayo, där locken silvergrå med hennes foto på.
Apparently recorded in South America. I'll check the label. It is the Cupol, C-U-P-O-L, and I've never seen these anywhere. I think it's the only one, but interesting stuff. Right, we'll persevere, and another random record from the Continental box is William Strines, S-T-R-I-E-N-Z. Wilhelm Strines, don't know anything about him, but I reckon he'll do this well. It's from the film, the Ton film, talking film, Quax der Bruchpilot. Wartime Fair. Okay, with Bella Sanders, mit seinem Orchestra. German. Okay, well, I don't really want to explore the provenance of this too closely. It may be nasty, but maybe not. Check it out and see.
Was sie sagten, deute ich ja so gerne, als der Liebe zärtliches Losung so schöne Abendstunde, der Himmel ist wie ein Diamant. Tausend Sterne ziehen ihn weit herunter. Von der Liebsten freundlich mir zugesandt. In der Ferne träum ich vom Heimatland. Stand ich allein in der dämmernden Nacht, hab ich an dich voller Sehnsucht gedacht. Meine guten Wünsche eilen, wollen nur bei dir verweilen. Warte auf mich in der Ferne, Heimat. Sterne stiegen ihn weit herunter. Von der Liebsten freundlich mir
Vibraphonics there, and I'm intrigued. I'd like to know what that record is about, and it's from the Ton film. I'll look it up. Q-U-A-X. Der Buch B-R-U-C-H Pilot. There we go. Quacks the Crash Pilot, 1941 comedy. Wikipedia. We'll find out. What's this about? Quacks the Crash Pilot, German, is a 1941 German comedy film directed by Kurt Hoffmann, starring Heinz Hollmann. I've seen his name before. And it, Homeland Your Stars, I think it's the song we just heard. Film features in the film. The film is set in the 1930s before the outbreak of the Second World War. It's based on an aviation story by Hermann Groth. Much of the film was shot on location in Bavaria. Interiors were shot in the Babelsberg Studios in Berlin and Bavaria Studios in Munich. Okay, other information. Okay, I think it's really fairly benign. So there we go. That's this background to that. Does the other side relate to this? I wonder. No, but it's another one with William Strines. S-T-R-I-E-N-Z. Well, find out about him now. Wilhelm, S-T-R, let me get this right. S-T-R-I-E-N-Z, I-E-N-Z. Look him up. Who was William Strines? William Strines gets a Guernsey. He was born in 1900 and lived to 1987. German bass operatic singer. Born in... it says born in 1900. It says then next paragraph says born in Stuttgart. Made his debut in 1922. Okay. He was called on by the Nazis. Well, it's probably a Nazi film. Okay. I think he was cleared though. Yes, he was exempt from military service because of his concert singing. Had a contract with Decca, and he was allowed to continue as an artist after the war. There we go. So that's probably sanctified him, whatever that means. Good Nacht, Mutter is the other side. Oh, well, might as well play the other side. Seems to have given them a little bit of a expose. These records all have a story.
gesorgt, gequält deinen Jungen, hast ihm des Abends ein Schlaflied gesungen. Gute Nacht, Mutter, gute Nacht. Hab viel Kummer und Sorgen gemacht. Du hast verziehen mir, du hast gewacht. Gute Nacht, Mutter, gute Nacht. Heut kam ein Brief, den du mir schriebst, nur ein paar kurze Zeilen von Mutterhand, dass du mich liebst, weit über 1000 Meilen. Plötzlich warst du mir so nah, saß ich dir zu Füßen. Plötzlich war die Heimat da, mit 1000 lieben Grüßen. Nun ist es spät, du bist so müd, schwer waren Mühen und Sorgen. Dein Sohn ist da, singt dir ein Lied, schlafe und träum bis morgen. Gute Nacht, Mutter, gute Nacht. Hast an mich jede Stunde gedacht, hast dich gesorgt, gequält deinen Jungen, hast ihm des Abends ein Schlaflied gesungen.
Of William Strines. Now, just a biographical analysis has revealed that he's probably a slightly more complicated figure. He did make propaganda films towards the end of the war. He was caught up in the whirlwind of what was going on. But some people saw him as an innocent, others didn't, but his career sort of propagated, and he kept going after the war and retired in 1963. So there's the background. People can make up their mind whether they want to acknowledge his artistic contribution or not. I just see an artist as being, a good or a bad voice, as long as they're not singing about bad things. But I don't think they are. I don't think he was in this instance. But with all these continental records, we don't know their provenance. And, it's just, I suppose it's just good to call it out and let people make their own minds up. Another one. This one is Samba Fiesta, Hal Evans with Chico Casals and his orchestra on a Century record. I think this is a Spanish disc. Not sure. No, it's an Australian pressing. Okay, I've never seen the label, but could be interesting. It's one of these imported imported artifacts. Yeah, vk3sl and the orchestra there, and a tango. Well, it's good to have a tango. Now we're going to refer to something a bit more comedic, change the pace. We're going to do this, find a different rhythm, and we have the Christmas Dragnet. This is the magnum opus of Stan Freberg. He did this so well with Doris Butler and Nathan. What's his name? Nathan someone. I'll find out for you. I'll give you the full lineup of this. Here you go. Yes, Doris Butler was his sidekick, and Nathan Scott. Yeah, and it's great stuff. I mean, this is just Stan Freberg at his very best. So, Christmas Dragnet, back to the mid-50s. Sit back and enjoy.
This is the season. My name is Wednesday. My partner is Frank Jones. The chief is Captain Kellogg. December the 24th, Christmas Eve. They brought in a guy named Grudge. When I heard what they booked him on, my blood ran cold. It was a 409-6325-096-704. Not believing in Santa Claus. 4:35 p.m. I was working the holiday watch at a homicide with Frank.
Hang up your stocking yet, Joe?
Yeah, just before I come down. You too, Frank?
Always do. Hung it up early just in case I have to work late tonight. Wouldn't want to miss out when Santa Claus comes, you know.
Mm-hmm. Sure wouldn't. Be a shame.
What you gonna do tomorrow, Joe? What you gonna do on Christmas? You got any plans?
Nothing much.
Why don't you come by the house, Joe? We're gonna have Christmas dinner. You know, all the trimmings.
Mm-hmm.
Turkey, celery stuffing, oysters maybe, chestnuts.
Mm-hmm.
All the trimmings. Cranberry sauce. Love to have you.
Mm-hmm.
The missus always fixes a plate of relish with them little carrot sticks. You know, olives, pickles, scallions. Most folks call them green onions, but they're really scallions. Did you ever notice that, Joe?
Ever notice what, Frank?
How most folks call them green onions, but they're really scallions.
Mm-hmm. Scallions.
Anytime after 2, Joe. Love to have you.
Mm-hmm. Well, I'll see.
Love to have you.
Mm-hmm. Well, I'll see.
The missus always fixes a plate of relish with them carrot sticks. You know them little carrot sticks?
Mm-hmm.
Olives, pickles, scallions.
Mm-hmm. Let's not go through that again.
Love to have you. Go through what again, Joe?
How most folks call them green onions, but they're really scallions.
Oh. You noticed that too, huh, Joe?
Homicide Wednesday. Mm-hmm. 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 Mm-hmm.
Smatter, Joe. Smatter, Joe.
Bringing a guy in on a 409-6325-096-704.
You mean?
Yeah. Guy don't believe in scallions. I mean, Santa Claus. 6:29 p.m. We questioned the guy who didn't believe in Santa Claus, a guy named Grudge. Says here your name's Grudge, is that right?
Yeah.
You said didn't believe in Santa Claus?
It's hard to believe what you said. Did you really say that?
Sure I said it. How do you know there's a Santa Claus? You got a picture of him?
No mugshot.
Any fingerprints?
Mm-mm. No latent prints. I just know that's all. It's like saying there isn't any Easter Bunny.
That's another guy there ain't no of.
Mm-hmm. Well, that's your story, mister.
Joe, he just said that to make me feel bad, didn't he? There really is an Easter Bunny, isn't there? Joe?
Listen, Grudge, didn't I pick you up 3 years ago in a 1492 for not believing in Columbus?
Yeah. I don't believe in Cleveland or Cincinnati either.
How about Toledo?
I ain't made up my mind yet about Toledo.
Okay, mister, I get the picture now. You don't believe in nothing, do you?
Nothing. And you want to know something else?
What's that?
I'm gonna get up and I'm gonna walk right out of this room. 'Cause you guys ain't got nothing on me. There ain't no law against not believing in Santa Claus.
There is in my book. Let me tell you something, mister. I'm gonna prove there's a Santa Claus if it takes me all night.
Pretty funny. The police department's got nothing else to do.
Let me straighten you out, buddy. This one's on Frank and me. Right, Frank? Right, Frank?
There really is an Easter Bunny, isn't there, Joe? You know, hippity-hopping down the bunny trail.
I took Grudge over to the helicopter, got in, flew around the city for hours. I showed him department stores. What's hurrying in and out of those department stores, Grudge?
Happy people, but I ain't impressed.
I showed him stockings. How are those stockings hung, Grudge?
By the chimney with care, but I didn't hang none up.
I showed him children nestled all snug in their beds. What's dancing in their heads, Grudge?
Visions of sugar plums, but you ain't selling me. There ain't no Santa Claus.
He still didn't believe. There was only one thing left to do. My job, get to the North Pole. 11:45 p.m. We arrived at the North Pole. I set the plane down. We walked over to Sandy's workshop. Rang the bell. Pardon me, sir. Can I ask you a few questions?
Why, sure. Just tickle me to death.
What do you do for a living?
I'm a brownie.
What are you doing at the North Pole with a southern accent?
Well, the boss sort of ran short on help this year, so he had to recruit a few of us brownies from the South Pole.
Mm-hmm. That figures.
What a waste of time.
Could we talk to your boss, please?
Oh, he's out. You would come on the one night he's out in the whole year.
Mm-hmm. What's your particular job, Mr. Brownie?
My boss has 8 tiny reindeer. My job, feed 'em.
Mm-hmm. Yes, sir. What do you feed him?
Well, most times I fix up a little plate of relish. Olives, pickles, and them carrot sticks. You know them little old carrot sticks?
Mm-hmm.
And scallions. Most folks call them green onions, but they're really scallions. How do you know?
Just a stab in the dark. The little man showed us through the workshop.
My boss will be back for the second load pretty soon. Say, would you all like to hear an interesting story?
Yes, sir.
Will you see that huge pile of presents over there?
Mm-hmm.
Man, look at all that stuff.
Would you believe it? They're all for the same man. Been piling up here year after year.
Why didn't the guy ever get them?
Yeah, why?
'Cause he didn't believe in my boss. You know the rules.
Mm-hmm. We know.
I don't suppose there's no chance that this guy can still...
Get the presents? Oh, sure. He gets them all. The minute he believes. But I don't suppose he ever will.
Too bad about that guy. What's his name?
Don't say it. I don't want to hear it.
Come on, Mr. Brownie. What's his name?
His name? Grudge.
The Brownie saw us to the door, wished us a Merry Christmas. We were heading back to the plane when it happened.
Hey!
Yeah, Grudge?
You know that guy I said I didn't believe in?
Who's that?
Santa Claus?
Yes, sir?
You think I'm too old to change my mind?
You're never too old, Mr. Grudge.
Well, then I believe in Santa Claus and Columbus.
How about Cleveland, Cincinnati, and the Easter Bunny?
Yeah, them too.
And Toledo?
I still ain't made up my mind yet about Toledo.
Look, Grudge, up in the sky. He's coming back for the second load.
It's Santa Claus! It's Santa Claus!
There's the only guy I know can make everybody happy in one night.
Yeah, he must have the biggest heart in the whole world.
That's about the size of it.
Say no more. That is classic Stan Freberg from the 50s. He just wrapped it up. And I remember the first time I heard that, and I thought, yeah, he knows. He's on the pulse. Don't believe in nothing, he says. Well, that's a bit of a postmodern statement. Here we go. I'm going to play some more. I'm going to hear some more Stan Freberg. Here we go. Here is his take on audiophiles. Back in 1956, the Audio Fools. They get a Guernsey. He took the piss out of everyone. Then went into advertising and did it more and more to the point he was a great spokesperson for consumerism.
Radio station WHIFI-FM, serving the greater Milltown area, is once more proud to bring you at this time your weekly high-fidelity forum of the air. And here is your moderator, Feedback Frugal. Thank you. Well, every week at this time, I have to ask all you people listening on anything less than a 15-inch speaker with an 8-inch tweeter to tune out, please. We don't mean to be undemocratic, but we're a select group, and we can't have just anybody listening. Thank you, so get out, please. Well, tonight our panel looks a little bit like who's who in hi-fi. To my right, Mr. H.H. Horn, president of the Summit Ridge Louder and Louder Club. Mr. Horn? Mr. Horn?
And to my right, Mr. Dacron Grillclaws, editor of Assemble It Yourself magazine.
Thank you, and good evening. And on my right, a very charming teenager, Miss Rhoda May Flogg of the West Branch Falls branch of the Johann Sebastian Bach fan club. I believe that's the inscription on your windbreaker, Miss Flogg.
I hope your ears are better than your eyes. It says, "Don't knock back." That's the slogan of our club.
Oh, that's the slogan.
Yeah, we have jerseys, too, that say, "Every toccata is worth a fugue."
Fine. Thank you, Miss Flogg, for the plug. Well, that's our panel. Now, first, we'll play just a teeny bit of a brand new LP recording and see who'll be the first to identify it. Here we go.
I think you will find it works better if you remove the record jacket first.
Oh, I'm so sorry. It's my mistake. Here we go. It's a sturdy jacket. Well, there we are. Now try and identify this. Well, that's about enough of that, I guess. Oh, sorry. Well, my arm slipped. I'm sorry. Now, do you know who that was? H.H. Horn had his hand up.
Well, that was played over a Pimlington amplifier model 220.
Right so far.
With a Feely preamp and Magnus tone arm.
What do you mean a Feely preamp? That had over 1.6% hum. You can't get that kind of distortion out of a Feely.
My dear Miss Flug, I can hear up to 20,000 cycles.
All right. It's great. Miss Flug has got you there, H.H. It was a Murdoch Jr. with over 2% hum. Now, what about the turntable, Mr. Grillcloth?
Yes, well, it has quite a bit of rumble in it. I think it was the new Murdoch just on the market.
Right you are. Do you think it'll sell 200,000?
No. They have quite a few bugs in them yet.
I got a Murdoch. It doesn't have any bugs.
What? Why, they've got a rumble like a cement mixer.
Well, sure they do if you don't use a foam rubber spindle adapter.
All right. Did anybody recognize the music?
Tell you the truth, I wasn't listening to the music.
Me either.
Well, no matter. Now we come to our contest. If you can guess the sound, you win a life-size inflatable latex rubber Liberace. He comes with his arms extended, ready to be blown up and set down at your own piano.
Gee, that's
wonderful.
Yeah, now what familiar sound is this? Listen. Well, I don't see any hands. That was Benny Goodman in a skin diver suit, 20 feet underwater, playing Danny Boy in a kelp bed.
Oh, yeah. I didn't
You should
think
have
it was
had that.
that.
H.H., you should have had that. Well, now one more just quickly here. Recognize that sound?
I think
Got it?
that was, no, I give up.
Yeah, what was it?
That was King Farouk in a skin diver suit, 20 feet underwater, applauding Benny Goodman.
Oh, well, if you'd played that on something beside a lousy Murdoch turntable without all that rumble,
What do
I
you
think
mean,
that I would
lousy Murdoch? I'd like to hear your turntable.
All right, Miss Flogg. You'll have an
Yeah,
opportunity right now. Mr. Grillcloth has assembled his home hi-fi kit here in the studio, and we're all going to get a little listen, right, Doctor?
Yes. As advertised in our magazine, Assemble It Yourself. Now, of course, in order to prepare for our kit, you have to rip out all the walls in the interior of your house.
I see.
Next, our acoustical walls go up in sections.
Prefabricated.
More or less. One wall is solid tennis balls. The other asbestos. The third, wet bathing suits. And the fourth, sort of a foam rubber bas-relief mural of the Pickens sisters in repose.
Some acoustics, right? What about equipment?
Well, I use 5 21-inch speakers in the ceiling, as you can see here. I have it all set up there. Plus a 10-foot horn enclosure in each corner. I have a Stylemaster preamp and a Fomroy turntable.
Oh, the worst one he could have picked.
Listen, madam, people who own Murdoch turntables should not...
All right, now. How much does all that equipment cost? I know our listeners will be anxious.
Yes, well, I'll tell you.
Find out the cost.
Yes, please, I'll tell you.
Fine.
$5,499.50 takes it home. home. Of course, the cost of building the railroad spur right to your house, which is essential, is not included
Not
in
included
that.
in the price. Well, could we hear a little music through your system? I see you have it all set up.
No. No, I'm afraid it wasn't designed for this studio.
that's a shame.
No, the room won't stand the stress.
Oh, I think it would, but I'm sure our listeners would have enjoyed hearing it.
I would have enjoyed hearing it.
No, not me. This way I don't have to hear that more than 5% turntable rumble in that lousy farm roar.
Just a minute, Miss Smart Alex.
Yeah, you
All
just
right,
afraid to play
panel.
it, that's
Here,
all.
Mr. Bloggs, put your windbreaker back on, please.
All right, you want to hear a little hi-fi, eh? Well, listen to this.
That concludes our weekly high-fidelity Forum of the Air. Now back to the frothy beat of Claude Hopper and his boys.
Over here. I'm in the Maya Christmas sale catalogue. Come and see the Revlon nail care kits for $3.
Hey, look over here on page 3. 2-piece sets for babies for $1.99.
Oh, aren't they beautiful?
A good price, too.
The Maya Christmas sale catalogue is well worth looking into.
Sure is, and the Maya Christmas sale is even better than the book, believe me. It's on now. Bargains galore, every floor, every Maya store, including High Point West and Dandenong.
John! Marcia. John. Marcia. John? Marcia. John. Marcia. John. Marcia. John. Marcia. John. John. Marcia. Oh, John. Marcia. John. Marcia. Marcia. John. Marcia. John. Marcia. Oh, Marcia, Marcia. John, John. Marcia, Marcia, Marcia. John, John, John. Marcia, 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 Marcia. John, 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 Marcia. John. Marcia.
Hundreds of whole rolls of the most exciting carpets in Melbourne.
Oh.
Colours brilliant, patterns beautiful,
Oh.
prices practical.
Oh, honey, where is this fabulous place?
Honey, Kay's Carpetland is not a place. It's places. 7 places.
Oh, where are these places?
Where do you live?
Oh, I haven't started living yet.
We'll start now at one of these places. Mulgrave, 752 Springvale Road. Moorabbin, 871 Nepean Highway. Nuttawading, 335 Whitehorse Road.
Oh.
Frankston, 30 Young Street. Dandenong, 217 Princess Highway. Footscray, 190 Berkeley Street.
Oh.
And Geelong, 115 High Street in Belmont.
Oh, I just started.
We'd like to tell you a story about a young girl, about 18 years old, about 5'2", and about to go out. Now, her mother, realizing it was her first time out with a young man, called her into the bedroom and said, "Minnie, you're dressed up in all your finery, your very best clothes, and you look beautiful. You're gorgeous. You're alluring.
You look swell, too, babe.
And now, Minnie, I want you to remember everything I've always told you. And above all, I want you to be very, very careful."
But she had to go and lose it at the Astor. She didn't take her mother's good advice. Now there aren't so many girls today who have one, and she wouldn't have let it go for any price. They searched the place from penthouse to the cellar, in every room and underneath each bed. Once they thought they saw it laying on a pillow, but they found it belonged to someone else instead. Oh, she had to go and lose it at the Astor. She didn't know exactly whom to blame, and she couldn't say just how or when she lost it. She only knew she had it when she came. They questioned all the bellboys and the porters. The chef appeared to be the guilty guy. The doorman also acted quite suspicious, but he coyly said, "I'm sure it wasn't I." Oh, she had to go and lose it at the Astor. It nearly killed her mother and her dad. They felt as bad about the thing as she did, for after all, it was the only one she had. They just about completed all their searching when the chauffeur walked up with it in his hand. All they did was stand and gape. There was Minnie Sable Cape, and she thought that she had lost it at the Astor.
Running around the city all day, looking for a parking spot. No way, but if you've got a Mini, you can fit a Mini anywhere. Sure can. When you're driving in your Mini, you don't have to prove a thing. So good for so long. Driving in your Mini, you don't have to prove a thing. So good for so long. Think about economy, you do. Think about the comfort for you. Think about the handling, it's some through. When you're driving in your Mini, you don't have to prove a thing.
Mini's got to be Australia's best small car value at a recommended retail price of $2,925.
When you're driving in your Mini, you don't have to prove a thing.
Things are so quiet in Texas since I got rid of Alexis. He used to keep me up till the dawn came in sight. He kept on making bang, bang all through the night. He was riding the range too darn often, so I laid him to rest in his coffin. I yanked out the bullets, I sawed off his barrel. Now he can't shoot his pistol anymore. Our neighbors never bothered to go to the show. They'd stand around and wait for our own rodeo. It was only one gun that he toted, but oh my, how fast he could reload it. So I yanked out the bullets. I sawed off his barrel. Now he can't shoot his pistol anymore. I always used to pray that someday I'd see him change. And I did one night. I found him riding Winter Brown's range. He just could not get out of that habit. He was quick like a young prairie rabbit. So I yanked out the bullets. I sawed off his barrel. Now he can't shoot his pistol anymore. He was rootin', he was tootin', he was full of foolish pranks. He was known as Sure Shot Daddy, and none of them were blanks. Oh my, he was so trigger happy. All the neighbors' kids called him Pappy. So I yanked out the bullets. I sawed off his barrel. Now I'm sure in the sweet by and by, he's a ghost rider in the sky. How well I remember them last words he said. He said, what good's a cowboy if his pistol is dead? But I figured my life would be sweeter if I silenced his old repeater. So I yanked out the bullets. I sawed off his barrel. Now I wonder, was it all for the best? I'm haunted by an empty saddle that nobody cares to straddle. I've had no peace since I laid him to rest.
The land of the harem and the land of the fez is the land that lies down around Suez, where a dancing girl from Pennsylvania is now the rage of the Mediterranean. She's the Turkish delight of the Dardanelles. Instead of 7 veils, she wears 7 bells. 2 on her ears and 1 in her nose. 1 on each of her great big toes. There are 2 more bells, but don't ask me where. Her mother knew her daughter, so she hung them there. Tinkle, tinkle, little bell, no one's going to harm Marnell. She shimmies and wiggles just like a snake. The bells serenade every move she makes. This is nothing but trouble for all of her beaux, because she has music wherever she goes. And if they don't exercise self-control, then everyone knows for whom the bells toll. Tinkle, tinkle, little bell, no one's going to harm Marnell. A sheik from the desert offered her $1,000 to come to his tent and do a one-night stand. But right away the bells began to ring. It really was very embarrassing. Someone knocked on the door, it was a funny time to come in collecting for the March of Dimes. Along came a fellow who thought he was bright, decided to romance her for certain one night. Put a hat on her ears and shoes on her toes, even went as far as to hold her nose. But he too gave up, so the story tells, 'cause he just couldn't silence the other 2 bells. Tinkle, tinkle, little bell, guard thee well the citadel. A good-humor man drove up gay as can be. He said, these here bells ain't gonna outwit me. So outside her door he parked his little white van. Soon the serenade of the bells began. He wooed her and nobody knew, because you see a good-humor man has got bells too. They can't prove a thing because he's so slick. They think that he's in selling good humor on a stick. 'Cause while he's romancing and ringing her bells, he yells, ice cream, and no one can tell his bells from her bells, and that is the plan. But still people wonder, and I do too, can he be selling ice cream the whole night.
The inimitable Ruth Wallace had a few of her tracks, and also Stan Freberg, a little bit of under the counter stuff to wind up our program for today. This is the end of the season, folks. We're winding up, and we'll be back again next year, probably next year. We might have a couple of sort of intermittent missions, maybe, but I'm out and about walking and doing other stuff for a while. And there are a lot of repairs to be done in this booth to make things properly functional as well before we really get back on board. But thank you ever so much for your dedication, listening in and being a part of the experience. I know Frank would share the same sentiment. So we'll wind up with a request. Yeah, we had Mr. Fleming chimed in this morning with actually a few days ago, alerting me to a recording of the famed Toccata and Fugue in D minor, Bach's sort of magic number for major organ forces. And this is an organ to behold. It's the Riga Cathedral organ, and Andrita Kalnissima is the soloist. It's really remarkable. It's one of the great organs in the world, and it's sort of a fun way to finish, I think. So we'll play this, and then we'll be offline for some time. So thanks, folks. Really appreciate your listening, your ears, and we will continue the magic next year and see how we go. All right, lots of records actually here. We barely scratched the surface. So much to embrace. Have a fab Christmas. Have a fab New Year. Enjoy the season and all of that. And just listen intermittently. I'll certainly be around mid-January for a bit. Maybe a little bit before. You never can know. All the best. I'm vk3sl.